Thanks, Steve. Before we get to this month's tip of the month, let's review last month's tip, effective search engine placement. As you will recall, the key to getting customers to your website is to make it as easy as possible for them to find you on the WWW, the World Wide Web. The best way to do that is to get your site placed on as many search engines as possible. Currently, there are over 2,500 different search engines in the world, and you probably know the big ones: Yahoo, AltaVista, and Excite. But there are thousands of search engines, and you need to be on them all. So how do you get your website listed on all the search engines? The easiest and most effective method is to contract with a bulk registration service. For a small fee, they will get your site listed with as many search engines as possible. Plus, they can resubmit your site to these search engines every few months, so your site is always fresh and has the best possible placement. For more information about search engine placement or any tip of the month, email me at webdoc@metroautomall.com. Well, now, let's get to the tip of the month, using StatServer. Actually, this tip is too big and important for just one segment. So in a few minutes, I'm going to explain the basics of what a StatServer does, and then go into more depth over the next two segments. One of the most common questions I get from dealers is, how do I know how many people are coming to my website? Well, we have reviewed several different StatServer softwares, and the one that we recommend is from MediaHouse because it's very easy to use, and it's simple, and it's also web-based, so you can be checking it from your home or anywhere else you like to check as long as you have internet access. Many GMs and internet managers make the mistake of judging their websites by the number of email quotes they receive or how many cars they sell off the internet. Well, let's take a look real quick at a StatServer, and we're going to be pulling up a web page called Friendly Chevy, and we're just going to take a look at what is happening with their StatServer currently. As the site gets pulled up, the thing that I like about the StatServer software we're using here from MediaHouse is that it tells you exactly how many people are on the site at this exact moment in time. And currently, there are 4 people that are actively on the site. While these are important to your bottom line, they're not a good indicator of how many consumers are finding and coming to your website. Let's take a second and go a little bit further into this StatServer. Let's go into the summary section. I like the summary section simply because it tells you how many people visited the site yesterday, last week, and last month. And you can take a look at the total amount of traffic coming to your site. And let's click on last week, for instance, and we'll take a look at how many people visited this site last week. And as it's pulling up, it's going to tell you some specific information, which is very important, because what it does, it gives you a detailed report in real time about the people that have come to your site. It can tell you exactly how many people visited your site that very second, or how many consumers visited that week or the day before. Now, for last week, there were 2,966 people that visited this web page. That's a pretty important number to look at, because you want to be able to differentiate between a hit and actual traffic. Because a lot of people say, oh, I had all these hits to my site. Well, that's really not the case. You want to look at the actual number of sessions served, because that tells you how many people are actually coming onto your site. For example, at Friendly, you can see here it says total hits made on the server, 29,633. And like I said, a hit is not the same thing as a session served or an individual person coming to the website. They actually only had 2,966 people actually visit the site, but there were never a number of hits made on the various pages. But as you scroll down through the information available, it gives you a lot of information that will tell you if you're doing a good job of advertising. For example, if you run a newspaper ad on Friday, you should see a big increase in number of visits that evening or even the next day. If you're using the radio to promote your site, you should see a spike shortly after that spot airs. Basically, if you're seeing your traffic increase to your website, your advertising is working. On the other hand, if you do not see substantial increases in the hits, that means you need to rethink your website advertising. Here's another thing. Look at it this way. If you're getting too many hits but are still not selling a lot of cars, that means that your website is not well designed and working for you. But that, your advertising, is bringing the traffic, and there are a lot of people looking at your site. On the other hand, if you're getting thousands of hits but not selling many cars, then your advertising is good, but your website needs to be improved. But a StatServer does more than just count the number of clicks a site receives at any given time. It also gives important information like referring search engine, how many minutes did they stay on the site, even which pages they went to most often, and for how long. Now, let's see where the traffic came from on the Friendly site. As we scroll down, we'll come up to a little section here, and it will actually give you a lot of information, but it will tell you that the top 10 most active referring domains were Friendly Chevy. That means a lot of people came directly to their site. Yahoo was the second most popular search engine, About.com, Alta Vista, Metro Automall, Go, and Digital City. It actually ranks them so you can see where your advertising dollars are working for you. If you're spending some money on Yahoo and all of a sudden you're seeing that through that advertising, those banner ads, you're getting a lot of traffic, it's a good indication that you should continue to stay with Yahoo because they are working for you. But that's the thing I like about a stats server. You can literally take it, overlay the data you get from the stats server with your advertising budget and see what works and what doesn't work. And you can actually put a scientific approach to your advertising dollars. And it's nice too is you can actually try some, new and exciting types of advertising, maybe a little bit on the edge, but I'll tell you what, you'll be able to really gauge whether or not it's working by the number of hits you're getting to your site. A stats server tells you everything you could ever want to know about potential customers visiting your website. Well, that's about all the time we have for this program. So tune in next month and we'll go into more detail about a stats server and how it can help you sell more cars. If you don't want to wait and have any questions, please contact me at thewebdoc@metroautomall.com. That's our tip of the month. I'm Peter Martin. Back to you, Steve.